Hola, ¿qué tal? Aquí Julio Monroy desde Delta Records. Hoy tenemos un live muy especial con un gran amigo que se está conectando desde la ciudad de Nueva York. Él es educador, ingeniero de sonido, mejor dicho, ustedes se van a dar cuenta este gran personaje que tenemos hoy. Este live va a estar en inglés, pero tendremos subtítulos en eh, español, ¿ok? Entonces, aquí vamos. Hey, Ken, how are you?
Hi, Julio. It is so good to see you. Thank you for the kind words.
Oh, no, my friend, it's amazing to have you here in our live stream. Thank you for accepting the invitation. And we are with David Sicar. Hey, David, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new episode of Producing with Julio Monroy. Ken, it's a huge honor to have you here and to see you again. And I'm really excited about this conversation. For the people watching, remember you can actually send your questions through the comment section on the platform on which you are watching, and I will communicate the questions to both Julio and Ken. I leave you with the conversation.
Thank you, David. Well, Ken, in this live stream, we only have two mandatory questions. So the first one is, can you tell us how did you begin in the audio music industry? Uh, why did you like music and audio? What happened?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Well, I started at a very young age with art. I wasn't actually in music up until high school, and all my youth was spent a lot of drawing. I actually wrote uh, like 60 pages of a book in sixth grade. I was always really interested in creating worlds. So when I got into music, it was actually because I was really into video games, and
Wow.
Guitar Hero and Rock Band was a game that sort of pushed me into wanting to explore my musical side because
Hmm.
my efforts were really trying to create video games, and it sort of turned out that way. But yeah, when I got into music, it was into uh, a very small project called Zelda Reorchestrated, which was
Wow.
a fan project where we basically took Zelda music and remade it with better samples, listened and transcribed everything by ear, and it taught me a lot about orchestration. So I went through a very arduous process of learning instrumentation, how they work together, how to arrange music, and I was learning drums with Rock Band.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So that was when my father said, "Hey, I have a drum set that I used to use for a very long time with my career, and I want to give that to you as a gift. And you can only, play this particular drum set before you play the very nice, expensive drum set that I have in the garage." So I said, "Okay." So I
Wow.
tried to learn quite a lot. My father, he was very good at encouraging the arts, but not really forcing it. And so was my mother. She was a fashion designer, while my father was a drummer,
Hmm.
and that became sort of a mesh between the two. I went into college for music production. That was the start of my audio career, and from that point on, I never looked back.
Wow. Man, and so your father play drums, right?
Yes, actually, he was a pretty notable drummer too in Puerto Rico. He was Hector Candelas, and he was
Yeah.
playing with people like Lisette Alvarez and Ednita Nazario. Menudo. He
Wow.
played with Ray Barreto, David Sanborn. He played with a lot of people.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, mm, you began to play drums, and then other instruments like guitar or just drums.
Well, I did have a little bit of keyboard experience before the
Okay.
drums.
Okay.
So around like seventh grade, I was taking like some piano lessons. But I wasn't super serious. I was just kind of toying around with it. And by the time I got to, that era where I started to play these video games, that was when I started to actually take a little bit more of a serious interest. And I changed my instrument from piano to drums. And even throughout my college career and high school, I was still playing piano and it was still very useful for me. I use it so much with composition.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a powerful tool.
Well, so you like video games. I see that you, yeah,
I wish I played more of them nowadays. I just have no time.
yeah, yeah. Me too.
But
I don't have time to play video games.
the last time I really touched a video game seriously was years ago, and now it's just like I might sprinkle a little bit here and there, but then I get dragged into something else.
Sick. Do you like video games, David?
I do. I did play a lot of video games when I was a little kid. I don't have time to play that much video games now. Like, we grow up and we just like can't find the time. But I'm a huge fan of a video game saga that's called Total War. I love that game so much, and I still play it. So that's the one I play from time to time when I have free time.
Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a very big fan of Zelda and
Amazing.
Halo. Halo was another one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great. That was my college years.
They they are pretty amazing. The video games are amazing. It's a shame that now that we are older, that we don't have time.
Well, now I
Mhm.
understand like my bigger brother because he was just like, yeah, because he's 10 years older than I am. So
Uh-huh.
he got to that phase before I did. And then all of a sudden, now my brother actually kind of turned around and he says, I'm going to play more video games. And I'm the one who's stuck without playing video games. So I don't know how that happened.
By the way, how old are you?
Oh, I was born in 1992. I'm 33 years old.
Well, you're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 40.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're never too young to actually create art, music, and that is the important part here. So,
Yeah,
but I appreciate it.
yeah. My friend, I have a question. So you teach in SAE in
Yep.
New York? Yeah, and tell me more about it, please.
Well, SAE or SAE is an institution where we can focus a curriculum around 1 year of audio education. And so a student will come in and they'll be there for 4 days a week, approximately 4.5 hours every day. And that will be encompassing for the entire year up to about 1,000 hours worth of work where they can learn everything from the fundamentals and move through digital audio workstation, recording consoles, and post-production and more.
Well, and Dolby Atmos, I guess.
I do
immersive.
teach Dolby Atmos, yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. What do you think about that? There's a lot of people who don't want to move to Dolby Atmos. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good question for people to really consider. I did Dolby Atmos because I saw it as the solution to my creativity. Because I'm an artist first. I've always been an artist first, like ever since I was a kid, like I mentioned. So I always wanted to create a 3D world, and Dolby Atmos was the way to do it. And I'm doing it in more capacity than just music. I'm also doing it as an audiobook. I'm doing it for film and all that kind of stuff too. So when people ask me about whether Dolby Atmos is relevant or it's good to get into, all you got to say is, well, look, Apple adopted the format. Tidal adopted the format. It is literally the leading commercial format for anything in the most state-of-the-art version of audio.
Mhm.
So I think while the barrier to entry to Atmos is sometimes confused as a very expensive one, people forget that Atmos is actually a bridge technology where we can just we could do it with, 12 speakers in a 714 system, or we could literally just start with just our headphones and some speakers like stereo and build our system over time to get to where we want to with Atmos. So I think it's a format that we should consider as a necessary thing in the professional world, because if we're being honest, every label, every label that's major at least, is requesting for Atmos. So if they want it, somebody's got to give it to them. And if you're not going to do it, somebody else will.
Yeah, yeah. And what about the storytelling that you can create with Dolby Atmos?
Oh, that's a great question, because that's really where the power is. Because and this is probably the biggest thing that I wish Atmos started a little differently with. Mainly because I think when labels first started to do Atmos, I think they just wanted to get on the format as fast as possible without respect to how to approach working with the format. And it was a bit of an experimental era. So people didn't really necessarily know how music was supposed to adapt to it. So what they did was just take music and upfold it into Atmos. And they would say, okay, well, here it is, Atmos. And it's like, well, not really. So Atmos really requires that the creation starts in Atmos so that you can have all the necessary decisions made in context for what you want the end result to be. And so if you're going to tell a story, sound effects, music, all of that really works well, because now I can decide to create an environment for everything to exist in, and I can have it move around. I can have it really create interesting momentum, movement. It's a lot of really powerful tools that you can't do with stereo alone. There are some things that we can do, and a lot of the time we'll do it with things like automation in writing, like the fader, but it's just so much more depth. And that's the magic of it, because in the subtleties in Atmos, I find there to be a lot of magic, so to speak.
That's amazing, man. And I was thinking that I always wanted to study in SAE when I was younger, but well, I didn't have like the money and to travel to another country. But I was thinking, what do you think, and base it in your experience, that audio programs today are missing? Which topics, or what do you think that audio programs can integrate in their curriculums? No, I don't know, maybe AI, or what do you think?
In the curriculums of our schools?
In any school, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think audio has changed a lot from when we started learning about audio. I mean, just think about the last 20 years and how much has changed in the music industry just alone. Never mind 50, 60 years ago. So I think it's important that we have a lot of reflection as educators and how we decide to approach what's relevant and what's necessary for the student. I talk with this to my colleagues all the time, and we sometimes actually struggle a little bit with the frustration of how to communicate some of this stuff, because a lot of the time we find that as newer students are coming in, there's actually less people who want to do things with the large format consoles. It's actually kind of interesting. When I was a student, I was like, oh my God, I've always dreamed of working in SSL.
Yeah.
And there are some students who still like that stuff, but there are some students that when they had the chance to be in the SSL room, they actually said, I don't want to use this. I was like, really? I was gooing over it. So it's interesting how that works. And I think what's important to keep in mind is that people, when they see how much these things like cost or what it takes to build a studio to that magnitude, I think most people underestimate what is involved. And you start to weed out the ones who only want to go a certain distance in that journey. Because some people, they just want to do very simple things. Maybe they just want to learn beat making or beat production. But then there's other people who want to say, hey, I want to learn how to do like film scoring and like record the orchestra and all that kind of stuff. There's that side too. But more than ever, I see a lot of people who are coming into the schools and they're in for very, very creative reasons, not very, very technical reasons. And so they want to find out how they can take what's in their mind and put it on paper as fast as possible, get to the end result as fast as possible.
Well, man,
Yeah.
I have my last question about education. But right, I was in a meeting a few minutes ago with my colleagues of the college, and somebody said that AI will replace music production, and I was thinking I'm going to ask that to Ken Candelas. What do you think about that?
No, I don't believe that. Because I think people will always want the desire to create. I
Yeah,
think
but if you have a like Suno or something like that that can create a music production in 20
I
seconds.
understand. I
Yeah.
think I think that that's fine. I think if you decide you want to compete with AI in commerce, then there is a very good chance you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But if you want to compete with AI or quote unquote compete, because people, when they create art, I don't think they're really trying to compete. I think people do art because they think it's a representation of who they are, it's their voice. And I think people will always strive to do those things because it's just natural for us to want to create. As much as I know that using Suno to do the production on my album would save me a lot of time, I kind of miss out on the journey of it. And you know what?
Yeah.
I miss out on the value on what I created.
Yeah.
So I think there's a balance. I think there will be some people who decide it's 100% AI and that's gonna be their thing. There will probably be just an entire category of just AI art that people will enjoy.
Yeah. AI
But
art.
then
Yeah.
there will just be also human-made art. I think they're just going to coexist.
Yeah. So if you wanted a cheap AI with AI, if you want it created by a human, it's going to be expensive.
That's true.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about that. But I think we have to also adapt our business models. I think we can't just pretend that the way we've always been doing things is going to stay the same. So if things are changing, then we have to also change with the times and figure out other ways of earning income through what we do.
Yeah, I remember a person who came to the studio a few months ago, and he said, "Hey, I have made a great album, a metal album, in 1 week." And I said, "What? How?" And he was like, "Yeah, I paid $10 to Suno, and I put write the lyrics, and it was amazing." I was like, "But you didn't create the album. It was Suno." Yeah, so yeah, maybe some
Well,
people will like that, but others will say like, "Why are you?"
it's interesting though, now that you brought that up, because the United States has recognized that artificial intelligence generated content is public domain. So it cannot actually be technically copyrighted. So for example, if somebody, let's say you did a film score, right? Just because we were talking about that a little earlier. So let's say you did a film score and it's an AI and you submit that to your client and you say, hey, let's do this, right? And then they say, okay, this sounds great. We've got the budget. Let's take it to the scoring stage, right? And they record the orchestra. You get an orchestrator. You can even get like AI to probably give you all the MIDI, right? So you get to the stage, you record it. And then one day, somebody discovers that you didn't actually do that. You didn't actually create it. It was AI that created it. And now you're suing, or you're getting sued, because what you created was a false pretense. And this entire piece of work was just wasted with all this amount of money, and it's created so many problems for everybody else. So using artificial intelligence is a tool, but it should never replace the thought, the mind, the ideas that we have, because if you do and you use it to just generate the idea, it doesn't actually belong to you. And if somebody finds out, it could end badly for you in that way. So be careful. I tell people not to try anything funny and to be as genuine as possible, because authenticity always wins. And you know, hey, if John Williams was using AI, I mean, we probably would have figured out by now that John Williams couldn't actually make a score himself. Yeah. It will be revealed to everyone whether or not you are who you exactly say who you are.
Yeah. And for sure, the AI will find the music created with AI.
Yeah.
The AI can search all over the places and say, hey, that's AI. So,
yeah. I mean, we have AI detection software for documentation already.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, AI will be able to recognize AI music. Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. In 20 seconds or less. What do you think about that, David Sicard?
Well, a lot of things comes to mind, especially because we've have experience recording with artists that actually now have a relationship with artificial intelligence. And what I have come to see is that in order for you to be an artist, you have to have a relationship on the crafting, the creating of your art. And it's important for us, to take the guitar and try some lines, maybe try other things, create sounds from objects or different kinds of things. We have a relation with our art, and we are in constant care of that process. So to be honest with you, I think AI is actually dividing the artistic group more heavily in terms of the people that want to be an artist and the people that are actually working to become an artist. So it's less work for us as producers, because the man that wants to be an artist will hire us and say, hey man, I want to produce a song, and he will learn the process and see how it's done. But the people that want things immediately and just want to upload a TikTok or upload a YouTube video from a song they didn't do, well, they're gonna use AI. So I think that filter is getting stronger between what's actually made intent with a narrative and an artistic purpose, and what's done just because someone wished to do a song, the next morning. So that's happening a lot. We actually have some comments from people. We have Jorge Azama regards Ken, David, and Julio from Lima, Peru. Hi, Jorge. Thank you a lot
Jorge
for being here. We have This Feels Amazing, my teacher in New York live with my hermosa Bogotá. Fernando Navarro Music is here watching the stream as well. We have
so cool.
Hernando Guerrero aquí desde Altavista. We have Diego Castro. I really like the way you think about Dolby Atmos. I think it's an incredible tool for creating spaces that simply cannot exist in stereo. And we also have a comment from Jarrod Radcliffe. Hi, Ken, Julio. I miss you guys.
Hey,
Warm
my friend.
regards from Guadalajara, Mexico.
Guadalajara, Guadalajara.
So good to see you guys. Oh,
Yeah, man.
that's amazing. A lot of
So,
love to go around.
Yeah. We have to go to Guadalajara, Ken. We should go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have never been there. Have you been
Me.
there?
No. I went to Teotihuacan in
Yeah.
Mexico. That was an amazing experience. Gave me a lot of inspiration. But no, not Guadalajara. And I got to visit Tec de Monterrey because I think there's a lot of secrets in Tec de Monterrey that I was just like, wait a minute. What's going on over here?
Yeah.
Mexico's doing a great job when it comes to audio education.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, can you tell me more about the project that you have about metal?
Yeah, Homeric. Oh man. Oh, where
Yeah.
do I start? So, yeah. So Homeric. Well, the latest release came out in September of last year. It's called The Circle of Dead Children. Now, as an educator,
Wow,
I could
man.
totally see how people are like, wait a minute, what's that all about? But it's an original adaptation of the classic tale of Dante's Inferno. And so it takes place in 1942, in that era, during World War II, where we have our protagonist, Dante. He actually is a bad person. He's a Nazi soldier, and he goes to hell. And he's on this path trying to undo his sins in the afterlife. And he's told that he has been cursed, and there has been some sort of connection to him to the devil.
Hmm.
And so this entire journey is guided by a spirit, and his name is Virgil, which is, of course, in the old story of Dante's Inferno. If anybody here has ever had a little bit of exposure to the medieval story, it is Dante and Virgil. They descend into hell, and Dante learns about sin. That's the big part of it. And in order to get to the other side in purgatory, he is trying to learn all the ways of how to not be a bad person and to learn the ways of doing the good thing. And actually, the Divine Comedy, the
Yeah.
actual omnibus of these three stories from Inferno to Purgatorio to Paradiso, is all a journey towards good. That's what the Divine Comedy means. Okay. So in this story, we take a little bit more of a modern approach. We're not using medieval times. We're using a little bit closer to our time. And we're trying to use the same ideas, the same concepts of learning to be a better person, asking the questions on what does it mean to be good, and trying to be an active part of doing the right thing. So the album was created in Atmos because I said I wanted a cinematic experience. Naturally, something like this where I'm going into hell, I got to hear hell all around me. So I took that idea and I brought it to life with Homeric, and it is a symphonic folk metal subgenre. But I call it philosophical metal.
Philosophical metal. Okay, right. Yeah. I like metal too. I when I was like, I don't know, 20, 22, 23, I have worked with a lot of metal bands. Like, I remember a concert here in Bogota with Symphony X and Kiko
It's
Loureiro
awesome.
from
Yes,
Angra, from Megadeth. Yeah, it's amazing. And I was checking your cap. It says Metal Mastermind, right?
that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
tell us more about it.
So, well, during the pandemic, that was when Metal Mastermind was born. The reason for that was because I had lost a lot of work. The only thing that I was doing was teaching when the pandemic came. because all my audio gigs, freelance work, it pretty much went away. I was working Good Morning America and broadcast, and there was no music happening on Good Morning America, at least for the size that they were doing it before. A lot of people lost work.
Wow.
So I was at home and I was saying to myself, what am I going to do? Well, that was the point where I actually focused a lot on Homeric. And at the same time, while that was going on, I started Metal Mastermind. And Metal Mastermind was actually something that was a way to help me be accountable to myself first. So me and my co-founder, his name was Jason Stallworth, we were good friends. We were meeting up pretty much once a week, and we called our sessions Metal Mastermind, because we were supposed to, just keep each other in check. Hey, Jason, are you working on your music this week? And he's like, yes. Ken, are you working on your music this week? I was like, yes. Okay. And we started to just get into the habit of doing this with each other. So we were like accountability buddies. And we said, this is actually, what we're talking about is actually very inspirational, and it's helping us. So we wanted to help other people do the same. And we basically decided to create an education platform for rock and metal musicians, because that was our passion, right? We love metal and rock, and that was, that's what I love to do. So I said, let's give back to the community that way. And we built Metal Mastermind. We made a bunch of courses and a bunch of resources, and over time it's grown, it's expanded. And now today, Metal Mastermind is in partnership with Spectre Academy, which is a bigger platform for us to actually get the word out even better than before. So we are working with them to do a lot of things, and there's a lot of really exciting stuff that's upcoming with that.
So yeah, that's the web, or David Seacard.
Yeah, that's the webpage. I'm putting the B-rolls. I actually have as well some of your courses. Can you talk about that a little bit more, please?
Yeah, sure. So some of our courses on Metal Mastermind, for example, you have things like Metal Producer Overlord or Metal Studio Designer. These are courses that are one like giant resource so that you can go in, dive in at your own pace, and learn tips, tricks, method, concepts, how to do things in a certain way, and just expand your horizons. So a lot of things that are here are put together by me and our other instructors. We've got, for example, Nick Z, Elizabeth DeDeus, we've got Rich Gray, Alfred Potter, myself, Todd Burke. We've got a lot of instructors on board who are creating such amazing courses here, and each one is sort of their own basically class in and of itself. These are like mega courses. A lot of these, some of them have like 100 videos. They're really, really in depth, and they go on for like hours. So they are for those of you who are really wanting to level up your game. You can go in and check them out, choose the course that you want to take, and then go at your own pace. Find out what works for you. And then if there's something that we also provide in other resources, you can expand to that. And if you don't know where to start, I always tell people, get the all access pass. If you get the all access pass, it gives you access to every course. And then that's a monthly fee where you can decide where you want to go. It's like a nice way to sort of dip your toe in the water without buying a full-on course just yet. And if you're happy with that, you can stay on it, or you can buy a course, you can change it up. There's a lot of different options, and we wanted to make sure that people had that option so that they weren't feeling like they had to be tied to a specific method of learning. Because one thing that I've learned as an educator is that a lot of my students, they learn in different ways. Some people are more kinesthetic, where they've got to really touch all the knobs and buttons in order to make it work. And then some others are auditory, they're visual learners, they got to be shown what it is. They like to take notes, etc. So Metal Mastermind is really there to help give you options. And if you're on the all access pass, the other benefit that we are offering is that we offer live stream classes every week. So as we have it right now, every Saturday, you get access to at least a class that you can attend, ask your questions, and then from that point on, maybe attend another one next week, or go back to your course, or read this ebook here, or do whatever you want. It's really, really amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. I was checking the web. I don't know, David, if we can share it. Um, and I'm
Yeah,
watching
give me a second.
that. Okay, your courses.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, these
There we go.
courses, they're really, really into all different facets. And it's not just audio, it's also music, technique, production, it is performance, music business. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about it because, not everything fits for everyone. So one of the best things about working with Spectre is that we got a really, really big library to work with. We are their, official partner, and we manage Spectre Academy. So it's a very exciting time for Metal Mastermind, and I hope you guys decide to join us.
Yeah, I like that. And what about these plugins? Plugins,
Yeah.
maybe.
So Spectre Academy is part of Spectre Digital, which they create plugins that you can see here, like Element Bass, Singularity. These are plugins that you can use for musical composition. Like you can see the drums; those are there for working with your compositions, or if you want to get the the cock blocker plugin, which is actually a noise gate plugin, works really well on guitars. That's what it was designed for, and it's got the attitude for it, so we love it.
Well, well, I like it. Thank you, man. I think that I'm going to check that web because I think that it's a good opportunity for all the people who wants to learn and that they are in different countries. Yeah, so I like the
Absolutely.
idea. I like the idea.
I like to
Hey,
call this alternative education.
alternative education. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a good it's a good name. I was thinking about you talk about a lot of uh, artists and music and create, and I was wondering about your creative process. So, uh, what do you do when you create a song, or how do you begin with that? With creating melodies, or in DAW, or what about
It's a
that? How
good
is your
question.
approach? Yeah.
I um, I start off very, very simple, voice memo, and I just try to get my idea, on paper, and from there I start to, and it depends on what the idea is, because sometimes I create rhythmic ideas, sometimes I create melodic ideas, sometimes it's not even a melody, it's just a chord progression. So, and most of the time I'll just stick to just a basic piano, nothing too fancy. If anything, the only types of things that I typically play around with are percussion, strings, brass, and piano, sometimes choir. So, but I start from certain types of timbral sounds that intrigue me, and that usually tends to lead what I write. And when I decide that I'm going to start writing in the DAW, I actually work in Logic first, mainly because I don't have to get too fancy with plugins and stuff like that. Logic has really great stock sounds, and they're enough for me to just go. So I write, get all my ideas organized. I make sure I keep them really neat so that like things like MIDI information will translate, because I don't keep it in Logic. I take it to Pro Tools and then flush it out in Pro Tools. because that's just the DAW that I'm most comfortable with editing, mixing, mastering, and everything. So when I use Pro Tools, a lot of the time it's just either finessing any ideas, and it's starting to then add the more significant samples that will be the final sound that I work with, and then I start really like tailoring it into the orchestration. Most of the time, though, when I'm writing, and this actually came from the first album in Homeric too, because that was a very experimental album. If you hear that album versus this one, they sound similar in certain ways, but the first one took more risk in exploring different types of genres, because I was very fascinated by world music. So in that album, it was very much there was classical music influence. There was like Eastern Asian. There was Celtic. There was Egyptian. I mean, there was like all these different types of styles that I was just like, I want to write, this kind of song in this genre. And that ended up revealing that while I was exploring, I did sort of have a common, I guess you could say, signature to all of that. And so nowadays, when I write, I always write from the perspective of the authentic music that I'm trying to emulate. So if it's like, which I did on the first album as well, flamenco, I wrote it as a flamenco tune first. I didn't write it with metal yet. And I collaborated with a real flamenco guitarist to just, his name was Eran Polat. He was really, really talented. And he just, him and we just went back and forth in different types of rhythms in flamenco. And I learned, how to do the palmas and, integrating the cajon with all of this. It was just an amazing experience. And then I put the metal to it. So I always write authentically from, where the music comes from first, and then I put the metal. That's my process.
Wow. Great process. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm going to copy that
Thank
process.
you. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It allows you to think differently about how you approach your music, because you're not using the same, cookie cutter form that you would use, let's say, in pop music all the time. So one thing I tell my students is, even if you don't understand the language, try writing lyrics in another language, and try to use, things like AI to help you like dictate like how it's said, right? And learn phonetics, because how you use the phonetics in rhythm, in melody, it really puts your mind to the test, and it challenges you in a really good way. And you start finding that you write differently when you start including world music. It's really a phenomenal procedure.
Yeah. That actually reminds me a lot of something that Julio teach me. Julio is my mentor. He's the one that actually teach me how to record and make video and a lot of stuff. So I was his student. He's a student. I'm very
amazing.
So, and one of the things that Julio told me actually was, I remember when I was doing my first album and Julio was helping me create the album, a lot of the songs start sounding the same. And one of the best advice that Julio told me was change your starting point. Because he told me, like, you're always songwriting with a guitar and a vocal. Try making first the lyric, try making the track, try to begin with different points. And I have adapted that. Actually, for example, I did a whole album where I did the whole tracks first with drums and guitars and cuts and everything. And then I built the lyrics and the melody into them. And that helped me a lot to evolve the sound. So it makes sense in relation with what you are talking about.
Yeah, broaden your horizons. It's a very good thing, and it puts you out of your comfort zone, which and when we do the same thing over and over, it gets old quick. And you might be able to do it and repeat it really fast, but then you don't start making anything new. So it's tricky, because I totally understand an artist or a band that doesn't want to necessarily change their sound, because they have this particular way and their audience likes them a certain way. Like, I've seen metal bands who have gone from one end and like totally switched up on the next album, and then their audience
Hmm.
hates it.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. And I think part of that is when you start or when you chase things like trends and how to make it like most popular, you start competing for the same things as a lot of other people do. And it doesn't sound as different as maybe you're looking for, because it isn't different. Somebody's already done that before. So when you're trying to do something different, you have to take a really bold step, and it could mean that your project is a completely different project. For those people who want to experiment, I tell them also, I say, do it in a new way. Like, you have, for example, many, many different metal bands. Let's say Dream Theater, right? You
Yeah.
got Dream Theater who makes all this crazy stuff, but then you have Liquid Tension Experiment. Like, that's their side thing, right?
Yeah.
So you could totally do that if it's not in line with what you know and you've established for a very long time, and if you don't want to rock that boat. But then again, it's if you're looking for that change to be in the thing that you love and dear, most, then I say you got to do it slowly, and you should, not maybe for this upcoming album change everything about your style, but maybe change one or two songs that kind of point in the direction where you want it to go. Or even better, make it about a story that makes sense to
Hmm.
make it in that style. So we were just talking about Homeric and the Inferno. Well, Purgatory isn't going to be as intense as the Inferno because it's not the Inferno, right? So, but when you go to Paradise, Paradise has to feel euphoric. It's got to feel like you're happy and you've gained something like of an enlightenment when you
Yeah.
go to heaven. So there's an emotional quality that needs to make sense. And I think a lot of that is where people they haven't done enough work in understanding who they are and what they actually create and what the impact of that actually has on their audience. So we were just talking about this in my class actually this past week about creating your brand and thinking about your music not just as, music that you enjoy, but music that creates a message that, establishes a relationship with your audience, and how people can, learn from that and grow along with you as an artist, see the journey, go along the ride. And if you give them a map for them to know what to expect, it makes it a lot easier to make it digestible for them.
Yeah,
Wow.
and actually, now that you're talking about this, I think that that's actually one of the huge problems that music has with AI, especially because keeping a narrative for AI it's gonna be hard, and
Yes. Yes. That's right.
one of the things that's really important about music is for it to feel honest. Like when you listen to a song and the way it's built and the way it's sing and the lyrics, everything feels honest. You can actually relate better, and I think that's one point that it's a huge, like a huge gap between AI and art. AI cannot build from honesty because AI does not have experience. So
Not yet.
that's that not yet. That's a really interesting point. I actually have some announcements to say. First of all, remember to follow Metal Mastermind on YouTube. There are a lot of amazing videos there. There are also interviews. Ken actually has a podcast as well. You can find it on Spotify. You just look for Metal Mastermind, and there you have the podcast. Talking about podcast, this episode is going to have a podcast edition, and you are gonna be able to find it on all streaming platforms. You just look for Produciendo con Julio Monroy, and you will find this episode and all the past episodes as well. So be sure to check that out. And also remember that we have a Discord server. So we talk about artistic process, music production, plugins, hardware, a lot of things. You can communicate with us through our Discord server and be part of our community. You are more than welcome to join, and we'll wait you there.
Thank you, David. Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
all the you know advisor commercials. Hey, Ken, we're running out of time, but I have a last question. Yeah, this is the last question. And please tell me or tell us a good advice for the new audio generations that wants to uh, begin to study music, audio in this new world.
Great question. I think people should focus on seeking wisdom mostly. I think in this industry, it is very easy to see the shiny object and want to go and grab it. But people forget that the thing that they're asking for comes with a lot of responsibility. And in order to handle that, you need to build a foundation for yourself, something that stands on really strong, solid ground, right? Think about this. Let's say you're new to the music industry and you do something on TikTok and it goes viral and you're like excited about it and you're just like, oh my God, my song went viral on TikTok. But then all of a sudden it starts to fall. People don't necessarily stick around and they're wondering what happened. I thought I was on my way to stardom, but this fell flat on its face. Well, were you prepared to collect all of the good things that was given to you in that moment? That's a really important part of this industry. We cannot forget that if we build a castle on sand, it will collapse, it will fall, it will not hold for the long term. I really believe that in order for you to make a successful career in this industry, one, I think it probably for most people will take at least 10 years, and you will need to build it brick by brick by brick. And there's no shortcut to actually learning and knowing all the things that come along with this industry. We were just talking about AI and how it doesn't have the experience just yet, right? Because nothing replaces going through and walking the path. You cannot erase that. And you can try to pretend like you've done it when you actually haven't done it. But then again, in those critical moments, it will be revealed whether you actually know what you're talking about or not. And that's when I say you didn't do the work. You didn't do the hard part, which nobody wants to do, but you have to do it. And you will have to go through pain and suffering to get onto the other side and really appreciate what you've actually done. And so I really just encourage you to take your time. If you're not a discovered artist yet, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It means that you're in the best position to really make something of yourself because nobody's pressing you to get it done. So make sure that what you create is actually you, authentically you, 100% you, something that you're proud of, that you can talk effortlessly about. And that's really the best thing. And it could be either in production, songwriting, performance, whatever that is for you. But you must walk the path, and you have to seek wisdom.
Create your own sound. Yeah.
That's right. Create your own sound. That's our motto at Metal Mastermind.
Well, Ken,
That's amazing.
thank you.
And
Thank
if
you for.
you know, mixing is actually a huge part of creating your own sound because you can approach mixing as a technical exercise or as a creative exercise. And for you to know, we actually are going to have an online course. Mezcla con Criterio is going to be hosted by Julio Monroy, and it's going to take place from September the 6th to the 27th. It's 4 classes at 9 a.m. Colombian time. So I'm gonna move the subtitles so you can scan the QR. And there you go, you can scan now the QR if you want to register to this course as well. It's beginning this Saturday, so hurry up because we don't have much spaces left.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Ken, will I see you in Long Beach?
Yes, I will be there. I will be actually one of the judges on the student competition, actually.
Me too.
Amazing. Look at that.
We are brothers, hermanos.
In every way, my friend. Thank you so much. This was such an honor to be on this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend, for stay here with us and share all your knowledge. And it was amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you, David Sikar, for all the hard work in the controls.
You're welcome, and thank you to all the people that have connected and sent us comments and questions. Ken, it was a huge honor to have you here. You know, we are huge fans of all your work and your creative process, and we are really intrigued about the way you think. So it's a huge thing for us to have you here. So thank you very much. I leave you with Julio Monroy now.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you, Ken. Well, we have run out of time, but it was amazing to speak with Ken. Remember that next week we're going to have another live stream with Ben Blau. We're going to talk about audio in games. So stay connected. See you next week. Bye.